A young boy hula hooped 6 rings at once. A child with Down syndrome quietly approached me, shook my hand and held it. His teacher was stunned. My soul melted. Welcome to Doc Wales Diaries. It's always a privilege to have you with me as I reflect on people, places, and moments that have shaped my missionary journeys. In this episode, we meet blind musicians who play with soul, deaf footballers, and teachers who have given their lives in lifting others up in silence. We visit orphanages, hospitals, and schools run on hope as much as on resources. This is a story about unseen lives and the unexpected grace that meets them. About what happens when you follow a song from a back alley in Soho, London, to the heart of Pyongyang. And about how mercy, friendship, and faith can open even the most unlikely doors. In the previous episode, I mentioned the concert we attended at Oxford, where disabled North Korean performers took to the stage at the Sheldonian Theatre. We then met the North Korean team at a Chinese restaurant in Soho, London. What began as a spontaneous moment of music in the heart of London became the unlikely key to a world that few in the West will ever glimpse. In that shared act of humanity, laughter, harmony, a simple song, walls that often feel impenetrable crumbled, if only for a while. That moment sowed the seeds of something much bigger. It led us once again to Pyongyang, North Korea. We were there for one reason: to stand beside Mun Chol Kim, or Cornelius, as you may remember from episode 7, and to support his vision to bring dignity, opportunity, and love to people with disabilities in North Korea. Our meeting in Soho gave birth to a dedicated team. For privacy and security, I'll call them Doc A, Doc B, Doc C, and of course George, our beloved coach. In May 2016, we flew into a land marked by tension, mystery, and contradiction. What we found was unexpected warmth, welcome, and a quiet determination in the people we met. We were hosted by the Korean Federation for the Protection of the Disabled, KFPD, a remarkable group. They opened doors not just physically, but symbolically. They invited us into orphanages, schools, studios, and even into their hopes and dreams. At the Taedong School for the Blind, we witnessed something unforgettable. The entire student body gathered to perform their morning exercise routine with stunning precision, a symphony of discipline and joy. Inside the classrooms, we met students who were blind, but far from limited. We watched children learning geometry with 3D tactile tools. We heard music lessons, violins, guitars, accordions, played by fingers that found their way not by sight, but by sound and soul. One student, composed and eloquent, read a passage from his Braille thesis on historical speeches, including those of Kim Il-sung. The irony wasn't lost on us. State-mandated portraits watched from above, but what moved us was the human story unfolding below these pictures. A blind guitarist accompanied by a tenor whose voice filled the room, soon joined by a soprano class. The harmony was stunning. It wasn't just a performance, it was a statement. We are here. We have something to offer. The headmistress, gracious and strong, had served for nearly 40 years. Despite limited resources, the school was almost self-sufficient, running its own greenhouses and gardens. I tried unsuccessfully to help them secure a solar-powered water system. But what they lacked in comfort, they made up with care. Our journey took us beyond classrooms. We visited grand monuments, the towering bronze figures on Mansu Hill, the Juche Tower, the Pueblo spy ship, the birthplace of Kim Il-sung. History and ideology were ever present, etched into stone, carried in silence. Yet it was the people who spoke the loudest. At a Pyongyang orphanages, laughter danced through the rooms, decorated with cartoon murals, a distinctly Eastern take on childhood wonder. A young boy hula-hooped 6 rings at once. A child with Down syndrome quietly approached me, shook my hand, and held it. His teacher was stunned. My soul melted. We saw young dancers and musicians tutored not just in art, but in self-worth. In an art studio, students shaped clay, painted canvases, embroidered silk, and sculptured history. Everywhere we turned, there was dedication, hope, and humanity. Then came the beautiful soccer game in silence. On the football pitch, a group of deaf boys, coached by our own George, played their hearts out. Before the match, they danced to music they couldn't hear, following the rhythm of their choreographer's movement. At the end, they all circled up, slapped hands, and let out a collective cry, "Wah!" You don't need to hear it to feel it. This visit was never meant to be a spectacle. It was a beginning, a response to a spark first lit at an Oxford performance by the disabled ensemble from North Korea. We returned the gesture, visiting their headquarters and watching rehearsals for their next concert. One performer, a ballet dancer in a wheelchair, expressed grace and strength that no stage could fully contain. We also visited Kim Il-sung Hospital, where outdated equipment and infrastructure tried to keep up with modern medical need. Cure International had once hoped to build an orthopedic center there, a dream yet to be realized. And still, the medical staff gave all they had. Each of our group came away changed and committed. Doc B raised funds for greenhouses to support KFPD's food programs. Doc A pledged a Perkins Braille for the Tedong School for the Blind. Doc C remained a faithful supporter of KFPD's mission. And George began planning a return to train the deaf soccer team and eventually work with the National Academy. Our visit proved that singing in Soho was not in vain. It was prophetic. A door had opened wide, and we stepped through. We left North Korea with fuller hearts and deeper understanding. Yes, we saw hardship. Yes, we saw propaganda. But we also saw care, dedication, laughter, and yes, love. Even our government-assigned minders, distant at first, warmed to us, smiled with us, shared meals, and helped us navigate an unfamiliar world. They too were human and kind. As I reflect on this journey from China to North Korea, from open doors to closed ones, I'm reminded of a promise, Psalm 32 and verse 8. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. And from a song I once wrote, I live all my days with his word and with prayer. I know in my heart that my Lord, he is there. With his eye on each step of the path he has made, he speaks to my soul, you must not be afraid. So it's one day at a time. Hey, but what a journey. Let's meet again soon. Doc Wales.